So today's video is one that I am so excited to share because it's one that I have gotten requested from many of you. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how I manifested my dream home, the home that I am residing in right now. For those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you've probably noticed some different filming locations and setups, and so naturally I've gotten a lot of inquiry about my new house, and if I could make a video talking about how I manifested it. So if you are in the mood for a success story video, if you are looking for a boost of motivation or inspiration, whether you are on the market for your new home or with whatever it is that you desire to manifest, then definitely stick around to the end of the video because today we're going to dive into how I manifested my dream home in the most incredible way possible. Despite all the odds, despite the terrible circumstances or how it appeared on the outside, which only further goes to show that anything is possible. By the way, hi, I'm Missy Renee, and on this channel we talk all things manifestation and the law of assumption, so if that's a topic that you want to learn more about, then definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications, and if you enjoy my videos, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're interested in any of my resources, such as my coaching programs, my workshops, or masterclasses, I got links to all of that information down in the description box, so don't forget to check that out. So when it came to this house and how we wound up here, we actually have to go all the way back to 2022 because this has been a long, ongoing journey that has had many unfoldings within itself. Back in 2022, my husband and I were living in Texas. We moved out there from Georgia around the end of 2021 to stay with some family and help them out while they were going through a lot of changes and transitions at that time. And at first I was open to the idea of staying in Texas or staying nearby, but the more that I started to search how I felt and what I truly desired, it became clear really quickly that that just wasn't in the cards for me. And I knew just from being on this journey, this manifestation journey for almost 2 decades, I knew that I first needed to get clear on what I desired. And like I mentioned, I wasn't opposed to the idea of staying out in Texas, but when I truly searched within and when I really got clear on what I desired, it became apparent really quickly that I longed to go back to the West Coast. See, I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest. I was born and raised in a town outside of Seattle, Washington. And so I grew up among the trees, the forests, the mountains, and I missed that. The West Coast had always been home to me. Even though I had spent over a decade out on the East Coast, no matter how much time I had spent away from home, it just felt like something was calling me back. And I didn't say anything to my husband right away about this. I really wanted to kind of mull over and give myself a minute. And I will never forget the day when I decided that I wanted to be back on the West Coast, when I solidified that intention. Because not even 24 hours later, my husband and I are watching something on TV. I forget exactly what we were watching. We were just kind of zoning out. And he turns to me and he said, "What are your thoughts about moving to California?" And I was taken aback for a second, but of course I thought about it, and I remembered my intention that I had set. And so I asked him, "Why California? You're from the Midwest. Why do you have an attachment to the West Coast?" And it turns out that some of his favorite YouTubers that he follows lived in Northern California, specifically around the Sierra Nevada mountains. And so he talks about how it got him to thinking, why don't we go check it out? So we talked about it for a couple days and ultimately decided that we should come out here and rent a home for a few months and just get a feel for the place, see what we like, if we take to it or not. And if we do like it, if it does feel like home, then we can find a place to buy. Mind you, this was back in 2022, sort of at the peak of the housing crisis. And the area in particular that we were looking at is an adorable town. It is so quaint. It looks like straight out of a Hallmark movie. It's a postcard for real. From what I heard and what I gathered, there was a lot of interest for people to want to move out in that area. And so naturally, the rental market specifically was very scarce. I heard more than once people tell me, "Good luck with that. You're going to need it." Basically, it appeared like the deck was stacked against us. And the old Missy Renee certainly would have gotten caught up in that mess. I certainly would have let myself get wrapped up into a panic and stress and probably give up ultimately because it seemed impossible at the time. Regardless, I knew that it was going to work out because what I know about the law and about myself is this. Once I have set an intention, once I have made a decision, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't always know the details about how it shows up for me, but what I do know is that it has to happen. So we do the traditional thing for a while, for a couple weeks, where we go online looking at different rental properties, reached out to a couple realtors, checked the normal traditional sources, and sure enough, there was not a lot of places available for rent. There were very slim pickings, and it seemed like as soon as something was listed, it was gone within days, sometimes even hours. And for a while there, I do remember feeling a little anxious because, man, this really is showing itself to be kind of difficult. Nonetheless, I came back to the first principle, which is something that I always do anytime I start to notice myself getting wrapped up in the 3D. And the first principle is be still and know that I am God. It is to quietly go within and remember who you really are, instead of all the noise that's happening out here. So one night after I caught myself getting a little bit too wrapped up in the 3D, I closed my eyes and I imagined for a moment the thrill of hearing from my husband that we found a place. And as soon as that was felt, as soon as that was accepted, I knew it was done. Fast forward a couple days when I get a call from my husband saying that he found a place. It turns out that he was kind of browsing online, searching through a few listings, and decided to tweak the filters that we had placed just a little bit, just to see what would come up. Well, the very first house that came up when he adjusted those filters was a home that looked perfect for us. Perfect location, perfect amenities, perfect price range. In fact, really good price range for the area. So he called me up, talked to me about it. We went ahead and submitted an application. That same day, got a call from the owner of the house, had a really, really great conversation with him. Long story short, within 24 hours, we were signing the lease. A week after that, we had all of our bags packed and we were on our way out west. So that was the first successful part of this manifestation. The fact that we were even able to get a place to stay while we were doing a search and while we were getting a feel for the area. I was told time and time and time again that the rentals out here were practically non-existent. You're going to need all the luck in the world. It's not going to happen. But I refused to accept that premise. So we landed at our new home in January of 2023. And we fell in love with that place. It was in the perfect neighborhood, lovely neighbors, perfect location, just a couple minutes from downtown. And there were so many activities, so many things to explore. It felt like heaven. And we ended up staying at that house for a year and a half. What was only supposed to be a few months while we looked for a new place ended up being a year and a half. And my husband and I had several conversations about whether or not we wanted to buy the property outright. But as much as I loved that property, and I did love that property, there were a few things that were missing that I ultimately desired in my dream home. So as much as I loved that house, I knew it was not going to be the ideal setup for what I truly desired in the long term. And that is for my long-term desire, my long-term goal, to open an animal rescue and sanctuary. I've been volunteering for many years with animal rescues, working as a foster, TNR, specializing in neonatal kittens, baby kittens, but really opening my home to any animal that is in need. So in the spring of 2024, when we were considering if we wanted to stay and renew the lease or buy the place or find somewhere else, I decided that I really needed to turn within and once again, clearly define what I desired in a new home. I knew that I wanted to have a place on a lot of property. I knew I wanted to live somewhere with an incredible view, somewhere up in the mountains that would absolutely take my breath away. I knew I wanted to have a bigger house itself with more bedrooms so that we can host family reunions and gatherings and all the things of that sort. So I got very clear on the specifics, and the rest I was really open for whatever may come. And that night, as I was going into sleep, I got myself into that deeply drowsy state when a vision came to me. I felt myself back in that familiar waking dream. And in this vision, in this scene, I am walking through a kitchen and turning left into the living room. And it is immaculate, 20+ foot ceilings and giant windows that went all the way to the ceiling, looking out over the valley. And in that vision, I remember my breath being stifled. It literally took my breath away. from how beautiful it was. It was a beautiful log cabin, rustic but still very cozy, but I will never forget seeing that view. And when I woke up, when I came to, I had so many different emotions going on. And I actually remember reaching up to pat my eyes, and my eyes were damp because I had been crying. Sure enough, I knew that that seed had been planted, that it was done. Again, I didn't know how this was going to happen. I didn't know the first place to look. I had no idea how the process was going to unfold, but I knew that it had to. I knew that it would work out. You could not move me. You could not faze me. Fast forward about a month later, and my husband was talking to one of the contractors who would come over to our house regularly. He came over on a pretty regular basis, and he actually started to strike up a friendship with my husband. So one afternoon, he's over, and before he leaves, he's wrapping up for the day. Him and my husband get to talking, and my husband tells him that we're looking for a new place. And that's when he said, you know, I actually have a client who is getting ready to move out of their house. I'm not sure if they're looking to sell or if they're looking for tenants, but the property is amazing. It sounds like it might be something that you'd be interested in. Do you want me to connect you to? We connected with the previous owner of the house that afternoon. We scheduled a time to meet and see the place, and I will never forget the first time driving up here and seeing the property for the first time. I immediately fell in love. It is a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, 5,000 square feet house, log cabin on 20 acres of property. And when I walked in, I first went through the kitchen, turned left into the living room, looked up at the 20-foot ceilings, and looked out the windows over the valley and that immaculate view. Once again, it took my breath away. I knew right then and there I had to have it. I had to have it. I had to have it. And the rest is history. Every single morning upon waking up, both of us say, thank God. Just thank God. I'm filled with gratitude every single morning. Growing up in an 850 square foot apartment with the 4 members of my family, living in a shoebox, I would have never thought something like this would be possible. When I say that this is my dream home, that is no exaggeration. Not to mention that the area we live in is absolutely incredible. Both my husband and I ride motorcycles. There are endless things to see and explore and go visit. There are endless routes, roads, trails, things to see and check out. Whenever we get the chance, we just get out to explore and take in the views, take in the scenes. Not to mention, we are a stone's throw from Lake Tahoe, one of the most picture-perfect places here on God's green earth. So whenever we get a chance and the weather is warm enough, we make that ride out to Tahoe and just take it all in, because my God, it is absolutely incredible out here. It is a rider's paradise. At the moment, I have my nursery set up. I've got my babies that I'm fostering, and I've got the plans in the works for that sanctuary. Everything is falling perfectly into place, as I knew it ultimately would. And that really is the foundation that has held this all together, is that faith, that trust, that no matter what, I didn't need to spin my wheels for it. I didn't need to exert myself. I didn't need to kill myself trying to find this place. And at times, it did get stressful. At times, I got caught up in the 3D, as we all do, because we're human. But it wouldn't take long for me to remember to turn back within and let it all happen organically, naturally. And it truly feels like this place just fell into my lap. There were no headaches, there were no bidding wars, there were no fights anywhere. It all happened in a way that was seamless. And that is what happens when we hold faith within ourselves, when we let go of that need to control everything, that ego's appetite to know how it's going to happen and need to have a plan, need to figure it out. Once we drop all of that and just focus on what we desire and embody that and trust that it will make its way perfectly to you, once we do this and once we maintain this, that is how you will manifest anything. And that is exactly how I manifested the home of my dreams. Last but not least, if you are interested in a tour, a walkthrough, if you will, I'll leave the link for that guy up here and also down in the description box so you can see the place for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope this helped give you a boost of inspiration. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in checking out any of my other resources, I have links down below to my coaching programs, my workshops, masterclasses, my blog, my podcast, my social links. Got a ton of great stuff down in that description box below, so don't forget to check it out. Also, be sure to check out the other videos on this channel. Definitely check out my Manifestation Fundamentals playlist. Each video is a different topic, but it all talks about how to manifest the best life ever. So until we meet next time, you guys, as always, please take care, be well, and never forget how powerful you truly are. Happy manifesting, guys.